Hi all, welcome back. This is Hal. And today I wanted to do a little something different. I actually had a couple of conversations where people were asking about earlier builds that I had done both in this server as well as other servers. Unfortunately, I don't really have any of the old bases still around that I can show, but I can show what I was doing in 10.4 earlier on the same server. So this was the first house that I actually built at the time. I was playing with a group of people who ended up building the castle that you see around us. But we were having a lot of problems with hordes, so everyone was building their own houses, and they were just places for us to keep things secure. So, as you can see, this started out as a really small house. It was just a simple 5x5 space, so it's a 6x6 house. And while I was here, I realized I kind of needed a farming area, so rooftop farming, standard stuff. It's nothing really unusual for the time. So the more I played, the more I realized that I kind of wanted my own workspace as well. So I dug into the basement and created the first of my workspaces. This was my first private workspace, on this server at least. As you can see, I did reinforce all of the walls with concrete, and then I put metal plating across the roof, so in the case that we had a breach of the house, I would have a little bit more time to defend and make it a little bit harder for people and zombies to get in. Thing was, is early on we did have a lot of breaches and a lot of attacks by the zombies, so this became much more important than it is later on in the server. So as I continued through, I also decided I wanted a private mine, so I started digging down, and eventually came back and reinforced all of this as well. But what I had done was I had dug down and created the first of my private mine areas. Now, eventually this did make it all the way down to bedrock, and these do continue through the different tunnel systems, and they'll come back into the base. So it's a fairly extensive mine network. I think we started this around day 30 or so on the server, maybe day 40-ish. So, and just over time I kept adding to it and building more out. I came back later and filled some of it back in with rock to reinforce areas that were becoming a little bit more unstable. Added a few lights here and there, and then as I progressed, I basically built back through and reinforced everything, and then added some more doors. So once I got established, had finished mining areas out, and had this big open area, I decided to build a bunker. And then for the first of the bunkers, this was just in case we ever saw another breach like we had early on. We did have issues with because there were so many of us in such a small area where the zombies were in mass. We had probably 4 or 5 of the actual giant hordes showing up, and with all of the screamers, it was interesting. It kept us busy for a couple of hours trying to keep it cleaned up, but again, here we are in the mine, and this does connect up to the other layers that you saw earlier. So it gives me a couple of different ways in and out of the area if I need it, and at the same time everything is mostly secure. One of the things that, unfortunately, because everyone did eventually start playing other games or just wander away for a while, I found that I really didn't need to do much more with this one. So I built a small living area and then started building areas to expand out, but I just really didn't need to at that point. I was pretty self-sufficient once I had gotten to this area done. Then everyone came back for a short period of time. We had a giant breach. They actually made it through the walls, through the house upstairs, and started coming into the mine system. So I found myself defending a lot of the underground area as well. So we built the second bunker. This one's a little bit more secure as it goes all the way down to the bedrock. So what this allows me to do is, again, I've got a small secure area. This is all reinforced concrete up through the ceiling here and back through the other wall. and again covered with the metal plating on the side. It just again adds a little bit more defense. It's nice to have, especially with this being a public server. While it's a PvE enforced server, we do unfortunately still get the people through. Like I said before, we get hackers in, and you get the guys who know how to use the various exploit codes and things. So since I'm in a secure area, I needed a second work area. This is the forge or smithy. General storage is here. We have a second room that's a kitchen cook area, and as you notice, everything is reinforced all the way through the ceiling and then the metal sheets again. And then finally a small living space, so I would have somewhere secure. And as you see, everything is compartmentalized. I like to keep it built something like this, because even if one area is breached, that gives you all of these other areas that you can basically bunker down into and fight from until you get things under control, and then you can just basically come through and sweep it zone by zone. Because we're on a mod server, this also allowed me to bring in and build a fancy toilet according to the diagram, but we also have the medicine cabinet and sinks and plenty of lighting. And again, you have to have your bathroom secure. So, but other than that, this was, like I said, I started building this around day 30 to day 40 on the server time. It was done about 120, 130 on server time. But it was a lot of fun. Some really good memories from the people that I was in the groups with at that point. And we've actually been in other games together, so it made it easy to come into this one. But yeah, that's the first of the big bases that I've built on this server. What I'll do for the next episode is I'll show you the base that I'm currently working on in more detail. That's the mineshaft base that you saw in some of the episodes 1 and 2, where I was doing the expansions and the updates on that. So, but that was the space. I thank you all for stopping by. If you liked the video, please hit that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already, to stay up to date. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave questions, comments, or just general feedback in the comments below. I thank you all for your time, and I hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon.